Hi, this is Ray with Mountain Sweet Honey, and today we begin part one of harvesting honey. And this is mostly for our backyard beekeepers, this video will be. And I want to go through what you're going to need in harvesting honey here before we actually get up to the hives. First thing that you're going to need is a brush. There's a lot of different ways, but we found this is the easiest for the backyard beekeepers to use a brush with getting your bees off the frames of honey. You're going to need a hive tool, and of course your suit, and also some gloves, because this is when the bees want to defend their honey. You'll notice that I have a telescopic cover, and that is to keep the bees off the honey once we put it into the hive bodies here, or the supers. Is that there's nothing in there right now, and we'll be filling this up with frames of honey one by one as we take them out of the hives. And these are the hives that we're going to be working this afternoon. All right, we're here at the hive, and given that it's later in the day, the hive has a lot more bees than normal. So when we open this up, I would expect to see a lot more bees coming out and wanting to warn us off and say, hey, leave our honey here. Let's take a look at this. We've got 3 supers on here. This first one going up is the winter honey that we're going to leave for the bees for the year. These next 2 will be the ones that we harvest. We are entering the latter end of June, and we've got about 2-3 more weeks of honey season left. And this is the second time we've been through collecting honey. Let's take the telescopic cover off. One thing that tells me if the bees are working is if I can see right through the inner cover here, and if I see bees, I know that they've been working this top super. So let's open it, and there they are. You want to move as slow as possible, so not to get the bees upset at us. And what I'm looking at, and if you look down through here, you can see right here that this is all capped. As I look down each of these frames, it looks capped. So I'm going to start over here on the far right hand side and work my way through the frames. First thing I want to do is break the propolis, and this is very, very time consuming here because you don't want to break open the honeycomb and have honey dripping down. It will happen, but I want to try not to have that happen here. On this side here, it is fairly well capped, but I look at the other side and it is not. And with this is going to stay for the bees to continue to dry this honey out so that it's suitable honey. If I was to harvest this earlier, it would begin to ferment and it would become bad honey. We're going to err on the side of caution and just leave that one there. Now, as I work my way in, most likely these frames are going to be all capped going in. It's normally the outside that is the last to be capped. This one here is about 80% capped, and this side's the same. We're going to go on ahead and harvest this, and I'm going to come over here and get my bee brush, and I'm going to just gently whisk them off, the bees. And this is the point where they start sending pheromones saying, hey, this guy is about to take our winter food, which is this honey. So I'm going to just whisk those off, and then I'm going to take it down here and put it into the wheel. Now you'll notice that I put the telescopic cover over the top and carried it roughly 20-30 feet away, and that just allows the bees to fly back into the hive, and putting the top on keeps the bees off of it, off the frames. We'll go to this next one. Once again, pretty much capped completely on this side. So I'm going to just take my bee brush and make lots of friends here. Once again, just repeating the same process as we go down to the wheelbarrow. It's always nice to have 2 people. One will be pulling the frames of honey, and the other one would be taking it down to the wheelbarrow. It's a lot more faster to do that. Okay. All right. Occasionally you'll have comb like what you see here, and we're just going to scrape that off. And that's going to have larvae and everything else into it because they've built bridges between the super below and this frame. Now this one here is questionable, and what I would say is that we have completely capped comb here, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to do a shake, and if I see honey like what you see spotted right here, that means it is not ready for harvest. So I'm going to put this one back. Okay, this one here, between both sides, has a lot to be capped yet. So I'm going to just scrape off some of this extra comb and get this frame cleaned up a little bit. Occasionally you're going to have a queen that is very aggressive on laying, and she may get all the way up to the third super in laying her brood, and that's what's happened right here. And you can see right here's the honey and here is the brood that she has laid. So we're going to just let this be part of their winter supply, and as you can see right here, same thing on the other side. She's been laying up this far. And the frames going forward have the same going through the rest of this super. So what I'm going to do next is try to clean up a little bit on the bridging that has been done from this second super to the third super here. And I'm going to pull this off. Okay. Set this up on its end, and we're going to clean this up.
So what can we do to prevent the queen from going up into our super?
You can use a queen excluder. This year is our first year we have not used it because we were so busy. What I'm doing here is there's a lot of drone cells that have been laid in between these frames. And I want to get that cleaned out. I also want to get this honey that was there out of here so the bees don't get so covered in the honey that they start drowning, and it puts stress on the hive. And they'll clean up the rest of this that's in here, even this larva from the drone cells. They'll get that cleaned up this evening too. And what I'm going to do with this is melt this down for the wax part of it, and the bees will love to clean that out. I'm going to put the super back on. What I'm going to do is just rock my super back and forth, and the bees will get out of the way, so I don't kill off several hundred bees just putting it straight on. And I'm also going to put this frame back on, and I'll get 2 or 3 more frames. I think I pulled 2, so I'll put 2 more frames back in here. And that is part 1 of how we harvest honey.